Sixth grade, we're going to continue on with history where we left off. We started talking about different map projections. Remember, the best way to show the whole Earth is a globe, but you and I don't carry around globes in our back pockets. We carry around maps. Today, with our technology, we're getting better and better with it. But back in the day, in ancient times, obviously they were going to put maps onto flat pieces of paper. When they do that, it distorts them. And so map makers kept working on ways that they could try to show a curved Earth onto a flat map, and it's not perfect on any of those maps. Something had to give. And so that's what happens. Today we're going to move on as we continue to work our way through that. If you are on the digital follow along, it's on your screen, or you can see in your chapter thing, we're down here on page 4. If you're in your book following along, you'd be on page 32. Remember our goal, we're studying geography, or how does geography influence where people live or the way they live. And today we're going to talk about the 5 themes and elements of geography. They're kind of closely related, but what they want us doing is thinking about all of these different themes and elements as we look at ancient civilizations and what they did. Let's get going. To understand how our world is connected, some geographers have broken the study of geography into 5 themes or 6 essential elements. So if you're over here, guys, you got themes as your fill in the blank, and then themes at the bottom of the page, your vocabulary word. A theme is a topic that is studied or a specific quality that connects ideas. Let's go through the 5 themes. The 5 themes of geography are 1, location, 2, your blank, places, 3, human environment interaction, 4, the other blank, movement, and 5, regions. You will see these themes highlighted in the geography skills questions throughout this book. So as we go through this, guys, when I study geography, first of all, I just need to know the location. Where is it? What's that place like? How do the humans work with where they are, their interaction with it? Well, how do they move around that? And then the larger regions that it applies to. Okay, let's go into the 6 essential themes, or elements, Recently, geographers have begun to divide the study of geography into 6 essential elements. This is what your history book will do. Understanding these elements will help you build your knowledge of geography. So, here we go. Number 1, the world in spatial terms. What do geographers do when they study a certain place? They first take a look at where the place is located. Okay? So you got your blank filled in on letter A there. It's where it's located. Location is a useful starting point. By asking where is it, you begin to develop an awareness of the world around you. So the first thing I'm going to do is know where I am. Now guys, look at 6 essential elements. The first one is a world in spatial terms. But what's the word they're after? Location. What was number 1 in themes? Location. Next essential element, places and regions. Place has a special meaning in geography. It refers to more than just where a place is, that's location. It also describes what a place is like. So it might describe the physical characteristics, such as landforms like mountains, deserts, ocean, but it also brings in climate, what's the weather like, and plant or animal life so that you understand what they might eat and hunt in those places. It might also describe the human characteristics, such as the language or the way of life there. So in general, they speak English and they're farmers, something like that. So you can see number 2 element goes right along with this one, but also with number 2 regions includes this one. So they're not identical, guys, okay? In your notes, you did letter B, places and regions. Geographers often group places into, and then they would put here, into regions. So we're going to get those together. And it says that right here in this sentence. To help organize their study, geographers often group places into regions. Regions are united by one or more common characteristics. Maybe all the people speak the same language. Maybe they all have the same way of life. Maybe they all have the same climate. And so I kind of lump those all together into a place or a region that goes along with it. Continuing on to the next page. Element number 3, physical systems. When geographers study places and regions, they analyze how physical systems, what are physical systems? Hurricanes, volcanoes, and glaciers shape the Earth's surface. Okay, so you have natural disasters, so to speak, that are happening. I don't know if I'd call it glacier or natural disaster, but it's a major system that can shape the earth. So your blank was in that sentence there with volcanoes. They also look at the communities of living things. The population of plants and animals depend on one another and their surroundings for survival. So they'll look at the relationship of how many animals are there. Too many of one type of animal has to balance it out. So the rabbits become too populated, they're going to eat too many plants. Wolves will move in and take out some of the rabbits. As too many wolves come in, there won't be enough rabbits, and the wolves will either move on or die out. So that balance is going to constantly be happening there in the physical system. Number 4, the human systems. Geographers are interested in human systems. Human systems refer to how people have shaped our world. Geographers look at how borders are decided and why people settle in certain places and not in others. A basic theme in geography is the movement of people. And then going right along with that, guys, we're going to move the ideas and the goods that go along with that. So human systems in your notes refer to how people have shaped our world. And this is a big one today, guys. We obviously have used God's earth, and lots of times we always view that as a negative, like global warming, for example. And the earth is getting warmer and humans are ruining it. We definitely need to be cautious, obviously, and make sure we're not ruining the earth. But a lot of the things we do, I don't want to say is a negative thing. Yes, we've cut down forests to build cities, but we've built cities and have done awesome, awesome things as human beings. So we need to be conscious. We need to be good stewards of God's planet without a doubt, but we also have to understand we need to use God's planet. God gave us that command. Rule over the animals, subdue them, and use this earth. So we just have to make sure we're doing it in a God-pleasing way, and we study this a lot to make sure it's God-pleasing. It's not abusing earth. It's not ours to destroy. It's ours to use. Number 5, the environment and society. How does the relationship between people and their natural surroundings influence the way of life, the way they live? The theme of human-environment interaction investigates this. Okay, so that's kind of going back to the theme, human-environment interaction, along with the essential of environment and society. It also shows how people use the environment, how their actions affect the environment. So you got your blank on that last word there, how we influence the environment. We have to be conscious of those things, and we'll see that from time to time. Alaska sometimes gets on the news like, should we build this pipeline to get the oil out of Alaska? Well, to do that, we're going to be going to moving hot oil through a cold region. Is that going to mess with the animals that live there? That is a decision that we need to think about, because we want the oil, but we also don't want to mess with the animals, and somehow we got to get a balance to those things. The last one is the uses of geography. Geography helps us understand the relationship among people, places, and environments. Mastering the tools and technology used for studying geography can also help us in our daily lives. So, we got to make sure on, hey, how can I use this land for the benefit? This might be mining minerals, like mining gold, or looking for oil, or things like that. It might be, man, this is really good soil, so we're going to become farmers. This might be the soil is average, so we're going to become herders and raise animals who can just live off the weeds, let's say, that can grow there, okay? So we need to make sure we have that figured out. So you're blank for letter H. Geography helps us understand the relationship among all these things. So they're just, as we got our essential elements, guys, we're looking at the earth, where it is, what it looks like, and how humans interact with everything that goes into it. Okay? And we'll start talking about some types of maps here as we finish up for the day. Scroll down to make sure I got it all on the page for you. There we go. I'm back over here as we start working forward. Number 4. Geography use many different maps. Maps that show a wide range of information are called general purpose maps. That's number 4. These maps are often collected into one book called an atlas. An atlas may be a collection of special area maps, such as North America maps, or general maps of the entire world. 2 of the most common general purpose maps found in an atlas are the physical and political maps. What are those? Physical maps show land and water features. Number 5, the colors used on a physical map include brown or green for land and blue for water. Physical maps may also use colors to show elevation. Elevation is the height of an area above sea level. Okay, so physical maps is just literally showing what the physical Earth is like. Lots of times you'll see different shades of green to get higher up in there as you go up into mountains and things like that. It does not divide it into states. That's the next one. Okay, now another thing that should probably be a vocabulary word, but they assume you know it already. They assume you know elevation is the height. That's why it's not in yellow. A key explains the meaning of each color. So every map has a key. We'll talk about that again, but so I know what the colors stand for. Number 6, political maps show the names and borders of countries. They also show the location of cities and other human-made features of a place. Often they identify major physical features of a land area. So political maps are the ones that you'll see in your book that are, the states are all different colors and you have the border lines between those states. That's a political map. When you hear the word political, you think governments. Those are the boundaries the government rules over. So I have Wisconsin a certain color because I'm going to separate it from Minnesota because the rules Wisconsin makes don't apply to Minnesota. They've been divided different colors for each state that goes along with that. Okay, so you got number 6 done with political maps. Continuing on, some maps show specific kinds of information. These are called special purpose maps. Remember, up here we are talking about common or general purpose. Now we're down here with special purpose maps. Okay, they might show some things like this. They usually show patterns such as climate, you're blank for number 7, natural resources or population. A road map is another example of a special purpose map. Like this map of Alexander's empire, special purpose maps may also display historical information such as battles or tutorial thing. So I'm going to see if I can find your Alexander, the thing over here. Okay, so this is a special purpose. I'm not showing the whole world. I'm showing Alexander's empire in 323 BC. You saw that pop up there when I got it. Okay, and we'll start talking about some of those things as we continue to move through that with those special types of maps. We got a little bit more to do here. Clicking over here, it says, an important step in reading a map is to study the map key. The key explains the lines and, fill in your blank, colors used on a map. It also explains any symbols or signs in pictures. So what is the big, huge red star? Oh, that's where a battle happened. What are the arrows? Okay, so this is your map key right here. It explains everything that we're looking at. For example, the map of Alexander's empire details the size of the empire, the routes of Alexander's conquest, and some important battles. Cities are also shown as a solid circle, like the one for Athens. The map scale, number 9, is a measuring line that tells you the distance represented on the map. Suppose you want to know the approximate distance from Tampa, Florida to New York City. Using the scale bar will help you calculate the distance. So guys, here's your scale right here. I would get a ruler out. I would measure that. That tells me how far it is in real life. This says on this map it's 0 to 400 miles if you can have really good eyes. And so if I measured it, I would say, okay, he traveled 400 miles to here. Then he traveled 400 miles to here. And every time it's this distance, it's 400 miles. And so that's how we tell distance using a scale. That was number 9. Number 10, a map has a symbol called a compass rose. A compass rose tells you the position of the cardinal directions. So you got the word for number 10. The cardinal directions are north, south, east, and west. Now normally on almost every map you look at, north is up, south is down, east to the right, west to the left. But guys, that's not always the truth. Sometimes a city will be built a little bit crooked, and so they'll spin it so it's up and down, and then they'll put their compass rose at a slight turn. Cardinal directions help you explain the relative location of any place on Earth. Okay, so number 1 in your blank, north, south, you missed east and west. They help you explain the relative location. Relative is always in relation to something else. So I live 5 miles north of you. That's a relative location. I didn't tell you exactly where I lived. I'm just 5 miles north of the relationship of you. Okay. Some maps also have a locator map, which is a small inset map. This shows where the region of the large map is located. And those of you that are in your book, you can see that on Alexander's up here on your map in the book. It has a map of the globe. They don't have it on online here, which is too bad. I don't think they have it on this one either. But a little inset, lots of times they'll show you on the world, where does Egypt come from? So that on your globe, if they had what they call that inset map, or that locator map, they would have a globe up here. They would have the continent of Africa on it, and then you'd have the little yellow highlighted, which is Egypt, which this map is talking about. You'd zoom out a little bit more, you'd have a map of Asia and Africa here, and then they would have this box, which is this map, shown up in that little inset map. So that's what they're talking about there, just so that you might look at something and say, Persia, that's not a country today, so I don't know where I am on the world. They would show you that in that little inset map. Okay, we're going to pause again today. It's going to take 3 days to get through lesson 1 here. So once again, hopefully you got all those blanks filled in as I went through it. If you did, you're set. If not, you have to go back and find some, get it. But that's it for today. Tomorrow, when we're done with the third part of this first lesson, then I'll give you the worksheet. You need to understand that that worksheet that you're going to get tomorrow, though, uses all lessons. So I've been writing up here, like this is Chapter 2, Lesson 1, Part B. Yesterday you had Part A, tomorrow you'll have Part C. You need all 3 of those to answer your questions on your worksheet, because it's going to cover the whole Lesson 1. So we'll see you tomorrow to finish up the lesson.